Excited to be here. I'm coming in from 9:30 a.m. in Washington, D.C., so it's a morning for me. I believe it's an afternoon for you. Again, excited to be here. I'm going to share a little bit about actually, if it pops up. I just had it a second ago. Basically, I wanted to share a little bit about who I am. So I'm Katrina Stevens, and I spent the first 20 years of my career as a teacher, as a principal, school founder, and then working in central office. The past 5 years, I've really been working on building bridges across different stakeholders, really in regional education innovation ecosystems. And recently I came from the EdTech Maryland, which is a regional cluster, to the Office of Educational Technology to support these kinds of clusters around the United States. Okay. I'm just having, I lost the screen I needed.
That's okay, we're waiting. Don't hurry up.
Yep, I'll keep going.
Катрина Стивенсон, наш лектор из Вашингтона, старший советник Офиса образовательных технологий при Департаменте образования США. Лекция EdTech-акселератор как модель развития региона. Приглашаем всех в зал. Зал Каменский, пожалуйста. Do you need any help? It's like the second icon show the desk arrow on the green screen.
Yeah, I have it. It's just it's not letting me choose the PowerPoint presentation that I have. So, and it worked like a couple minutes ago, so I'm not quite sure what's happening now. Let me see if this will work, if I can get to it from this way.
Okay.
And then let me pull up PowerPoint this way.
So yeah, we see. Can you make a full screen, please?
Can you see that? Building education innovation ecosystems?
Yeah, and if you will make a full screen, it will work even better.
Yeah, it's actually on full screen for mine. So.
Yeah, okay, so turn it back to the full screen, please. Like in the right corner. Okay, that's okay, that works.
Okay. Are you able to see, do you see just the screen or do you see all my talking points as well?
Yeah, we see your comments as well.
Yeah, I need to. Right. Somehow it did a double screen on me.
So you see now.
I'm gonna actually just kind of keep talking while I figure out how to bring up the PowerPoint with it. But essentially, there are a number of education clusters that are around the United States. It is a fairly new phenomena. So it's really been only in the past 5 years or so I've started to see this happening. Essentially, I'm sorry, I'm really trying to figure this out.
And you see the audience just coming. So there are a couple of people on the other corner, but as soon as we will start, it will really be fulfilled.
Let me see. I think what I have to do, unfortunately, is actually to close it out and come right back. So I will be right back.
Она отключилась, да, у нас? А как? Ну-ка, обычный режим. А как вернуться в полный экран, вы знаете? Да, вот этот вот. Common. А вот обычный режим. все уйдут. Катрина, к сожалению, отключилась, мы ее вернем. С нашей стороны все работает. Буквально 1 минута, господа, простите за ожидание. Here again.
I'm back, and everything just started crash.
Yeah, so we see your presentation now. Just make a full screen, please.
It looks like it is in full screen by my side, but I will, how's that?
That's the same. Can you please, Katrina, can you please push F5 on your
F5,
computer?
okay. It's a Mac, so that might be different. Okay, let me try this.
From start, maybe to click this one. From start, here.
Yeah, on my screen, I see the full screen, so I'm not sure what's happening on your end. Okay. It worked yesterday when we tried it. I can just do this.
So, can you start? Can you please push play? Yep, that one. And the second one now. From current slide. Da. Yeah. So we see it. We can start like this. I think our plasma is rather big. We can see your map and everything. Okay, let's start like this. Yeah, that's better, even better.
Okay. So essentially, there are a number of the red ones are the ones that are really kind of more maturing, and then you see kind of these little tiny ones where you're just starting to see things starting to happen. So basically, an education innovation cluster involves usually these 5 components. So you usually have developers, that's basically your tech community. You have schools, and the schools include parents and students. You have policymakers, that's usually kind of government, and that could be local, state, or even national. Then researchers, and those are usually from higher ed. And then people who are funding, and that can be investors, that can be foundations, or it could be government. And essentially, the key is that everyone should be kind of working together on these things. And so one of the things that I was working on is trying to do this kind of work in EdTech Maryland. Essentially, what we really wanted to do is we had a lot of different groups that were doing some good work, and we really wanted to think about how could we get everybody to be moving in the same direction. So how could we actually leverage and combine the work that people had done, and make sure that we were all that we were not doing the same thing over and over again, that we were actually working together for a bigger result. And we really kind of organized around 4 main pieces. So there's the research consortium. The research consortium is really the key to EdTech Maryland. It involves higher ed, who are kind of putting together the research pieces of it, a number of school districts who are willing to try piloting and working with entrepreneurs, the entrepreneur community, so really kind of your young EdTech startups as well as your more advanced education companies. And then we also had a few government folks who were helping with some policy stuff. Now, essentially, all of the other kinds of work really feed into that. So policy, for instance, a lot of times we would be asked by the state when they were proposing some legislation, is this something that is good, or there's something that are changes that should be made. Also, as things keep changing rapidly, we're also needing to change some of the policy. So for example, a lot of districts say that before you can buy something for the district, you need to be able to put it out on the table in front of a board for 30 days before the board meeting. Well, that's hard to do with digital tools. Like, how do you put a digital tool on display in a physical space? So we're trying to work on changing some of those policies to make it easier for education technology. Development is really just kind of sustaining. And then communication events, and that's really about how you build your community, and I'll show you a little bit about some of the activities that we do around that. Now, Maryland has something that's unique than most of other states. There's something called TEDCO. And TEDCO is this public-private partnership. So it is largely funded by the government. So there's tax dollars that go into it. And they also bring in private investors on top of that. But they take money and they basically invest in early stage companies and then also give support as those companies grow. They support a number of tech councils and other kinds of activities and incubators in the state. But one of their verticals is education technology. And that's really allowed the state to really grow. We've been able to bring a number of companies and have them move from New York City, from DC, really to be able to move to Baltimore or in the region because they see the ability and some funding to be able to kind of get started. One of the things that, for instance, TEDCO does is they sponsor these breakfast roundtables. So we discovered pretty early that a lot of the early EdTech startups really needed support, and it was also a good way to bring them together once a month to find out what was going on and what kinds of things we could build on in the community. So essentially we have these, once a month we'll have these hour-and-a-half training sessions where about 20 of the EdTech founders come together and really kind of talk through and learn about what they can do to kind of grow their company. We also have EdTech meetups. These, again, are once a month. They're more social. What we usually do is have 2 short presentations, so 5 to 7 minutes. And it can be a company usually, and then the other one is usually some other nonprofit organization sharing the work that they're doing. If you're interested, I actually wrote an article that I put the bit.ly up here about how to organize a meetup and what are some of the things to think about. But we've seen a lot of partnerships come out of that particular events, and the communities continue to grow and grow. And I've seen EdTech meetups across the United States as a way to kind of start growing your communities. We also had some annual events where we would bring together, we had a summit, we brought together 30 plus EdTech companies, and they would work with roughly 600 plus educators. So the companies would get a chance to kind of sit down and talk to the educators, show them what they're working on, and then the educators provided feedback the entire day. And we saw a lot of companies that would make changes based on some of those conversations. And one of the other things we realized is that if we did things kind of the same old way, they were going to get the same old results. So we started to think about the way research is really being done and the process that the tools go to get into schools. And we started to think about how could we really reimagine the ecosystem. What does it look like in terms of getting some tools that are just still being developed into the schools? And right now, the way research is done is essentially you have these long multi-year studies. You usually have an A group and a B group, or one gets the tool and one doesn't get the tool. You try to rule out for any kind of messiness or irregularities. And then at the end of that study, you'll say, like, yes, this is making a difference. This is helping kids read. The truth is, though, that the way that most principals or school leaders decide what they want to use is they call up their friends. They call up their other principals. They call up other school leaders and say, what are you using? What's working in my school? What they really want to know is what works. They don't necessarily need to know that it went through this long study. And as research is changing so quickly, as tech tools are changing so quickly, by the time some of these research studies come out, the tools are already invalid anyway, because they've developed into something new and different. So we thought about, okay, what if we really thought about this differently? And so one way that we're really thinking about this is through to essentially rapid cycle efficacy trials. And so the idea is that instead of having to have years and years of research, that you can find out some pretty good information from doing these short trials. Essentially where you try something out in a school, and that could be anywhere from 4 weeks to 3 months, could be a little bit longer. But essentially, it's set up where you're specifically testing to see if something really is going to work. And so you figure out what your learning goals are and then base it around that. And then the idea is that after that first cycle, that the feedback goes back to the developers and they kind of change what based on the suggestions, and you keep doing these cycles until the products get better and better. And you're doing this in partnership with schools. Now, the goal for all this really is to have more transparency. So the idea is that district leaders need to be able to make better decisions about EdTech tools. We have thousands of EdTech tools that are coming on the market, and so it's becoming more and more difficult to choose between them. And we'd like principals and school leaders to be making these decisions based on evidence and not just based on their friends' opinions. So that's one of the reasons we're trying to do that. Now, in order to do this, we realize we have to build partnerships between entrepreneurs, schools, and higher ed in terms of getting the research that's being done. And also funders need to understand this new process. It's also critical that you give educators a voice in all of these conversations. They're on the ground. They're the ones that know what works and what doesn't work in classrooms. The idea is that as these efficacy trials happen, that everyone is going to start to reflect and refine on what they're doing. what works, what didn't work, how can we make it better. And this also applies not just to tools, but it applies to really even teaching practices. We also wanted to make sure that the ideas and the things that are being tested really match what's happening in classroom reality. In a lot of the kind of standard research, it's done in a way where anything that would be an outlier is kind of erased from the studies, but in truth, most of our schools have some messiness to them. We have schools where like we've got kids who are coming in and out. Like not every day do you have every single student in your classroom. You can have all kinds of things happen, and that's what schools really look like. So we wanted to make sure that as we're testing the tools, that we're testing them in real schools and in real classroom situations. And then we want to make sure that we're figuring out how to measure this. A lot of times people will pilot something without really thinking about what they're trying to get out of that pilot. So we want to really help figure out, like, what are the measurements? How do you measure what students are learning? And sometimes you might have a tool that's really more about teacher productivity. So it's about making something take less time for a teacher. And so those are to measure. On the company side, being able to have this kind of piloting in the schools allows them to really gain traction, which then allows them to be able to go and to be able to get more funding to continue to develop their tools. What I realized in EdTech Maryland is that you could do this on your own, but it doesn't really work, because after a certain point, you really need to be able to connect to other education clusters across the US. So that's when we really started, again, going back and connecting all the different clusters that are happening. Some of the examples of ones that are doing some interesting work, we have the iZone in the New York City Department of Education. They're one of the first folks to be out there in front, really doing some of this work. They have really an incubator that's in the school system. About 300 schools have agreed to participate in the iZone. They have contests where companies can apply to be able to pilot. And then the iZone really helps them be able to match the right product with schools that are trying to work on learning to do something a little bit better. The whole state of Rhode Island really is, the Highlander Institute has been doing some work there to pull Rhode Island together as an education innovation cluster. They've done a lot of work on personalized learning and blended learning and really figuring out, again, what's working, what's not working. Leap Innovations, which is in Chicago, has been running some of these trials as well. And then you're also starting to see some of these groups do something that kind of like smaller events, but trying to get educators and entrepreneurs talking to each other. So Shark Tank, instead of the entrepreneurs going up in front of investors, they go up in front of educators, and the educators tell them whether or not this is something that they're able to, whether they think that this particular product will work or not work. Another way that tools can get developed now is their education hackathons. Startup Weekend Education is an example of one of those, but people will come together, your developers, entrepreneurs, educators, and designers, and will spend time together. Sometimes it's a day, sometimes it's over a weekend, and really dig in and try to solve a problem together. There's some other ways that people can connect to each other. So we've seen entrepreneurs and educators meet on some chats like EdTech Chat was a Twitter chat. EdTech Bridge is another big one where people will connect. We have a list here, if anyone's interested, of all of the education Twitter chats that are happening around the world, really. So if you're looking to learn what educators are thinking or what about specific things, there's lots and lots of topics there. I also wanted to share, we have an EdTech Developers Guide. This just got released last week. Secretary Arne Duncan announced this at one of our big conferences. This is available for free, and it essentially is designed to help developers or anyone else who is wanting to design tools for schools to really get a sense of like what things they should be thinking about, what are the big important problems that need to getting solved, how they can work with schools, and kind of some of the complexity of schools. We also have two other guides that one is really about how to use evidence, and then another one has to do with infrastructure for learning. These have lots of case studies and examples from schools. Again, free to just kind of download from our site if you're interested. It sometimes can feel like we're all kind of building a plane in flight or kind of hanging on together, but we're also hanging on together. So we're doing this, working it and figuring it out. And trying to kind of figure out the next steps and where education technology is going. And I always like to remind myself that the reason that we do all this is really about trying to make sure that students can really achieve their dreams, to make sure that the tools that we're putting in classrooms are really something that are helping to and learn and grow. Here's my contact information if anyone is interested in has any questions after this or is looking for any of the information that was in this. You can catch me at KatrinaStevens@1 or katrina.stevens@ed.gov.
Thank you, Katrina. So, do you want to say something else, or just follow with some questions?
Yep, I'm good for questions, yeah, because I know already took a lot of time, so I cut it a little bit.
Уважаемые господа, есть ли у вас какие-то вопросы к Катрине по поводу возможностей обучающих технологий для развития региона? Возможно, она может поделиться каким-то опытом Америки в этих вопросах. Будут ли вопросы? Хоть один из вежливости. Catherine, so we don't have any questions, unfortunately. I'm surprised by that. Probably you have some advice for us for the future.
Really, it's about getting the right people at the table. So if you're trying to develop a cluster or really trying to get people working together, a community, you want to start small and find some of your key leaders and get them talking to each other and trying to solve like what's already happening, what's already good that's happening, and how can those groups that are doing that work start working together.
Okay, I guess we've done, and we're sorry but we don't have any feedback from our audience. Probably it's new topic for Russia, but we are working this conference, we're working this international educational fair to develop the new culture of educational technologies in Russia. So your lecture was very useful for us, and we'll hope to see you next year with us.
Great, thanks.
Thank you very much, Katrine. Thank you very much. Well, it was great. Да? Господа, у нас сейчас еще будет один иностранный спикер. Я надеюсь, вы поучаствуете побудете с нами онлайн. Лекция Донель Блюмбау, руководитель образовательных программ Международной ассоциации индустрии программного обеспечения и информации. Называется «Мировой опыт в области стратегии управления большими данными в образовании». Big Data. Такая достаточно специализированная тема, но надеемся, она найдет своих слушателей. Сейчас мы будем подключать опять трансляцию. Это займет у нас минутку. Hello, Donna. We see you here.
Hello.
Hello, perfect. Thank you for waiting for us. We've been talking with Katrina Stevens. She's a senior advisor of Department of Education of the States. It was interesting for us. She made a lecture about EdTech-accelerator as the model of regional development. So we're happy that you are now with us as well. And
glad to be here.
Yeah, there are not so many people now, but their experience shows that when you start to make your lecture, when you start to make your presentation, people coming. So we can probably start. Do you hear us now? Is it a good connection for you?
It is a good connection.
It's a little bit slow. Can you say a few words, please?
Good morning.
Yeah. Can you try to change the screen like we did yesterday? Yeah, like to show us some PowerPoint presentation.
Yes.
It's in the left corner. Yep.
Let me get to the...
Yeah, and full screen.
How is that?
Yeah. Как сделать полный экран ей? Сейчас. Да. Что нажать? Вот просто полный экран. Вот здесь нажать? Can you start from the beginning? probably just push the button and we can start, I think. Or you want
Yes.
or you want to make some introduction? How it's more comfortable for you?
Yeah, I will want to say a few words first, and then I'll start the PowerPoint.
Don't know. I'm sorry. Do you on Wi-Fi now? Because it sounds pretty slowly for us.
No, not on Wi-Fi.
Она на Wi-Fi. Она на Wi-Fi, у нее очень медленная связь из-за этого. Окей, can you turn it back to the like to your face, to your screen? Yeah, that's even better. Okay, we can start. You can make
Well,
an introduction.
let me get back to.
Yeah, we see you now. You are now in front of our audience. They all see you on the on the big screen.
Good morning, everyone.
Yeah, it's afternoon for us.
Good afternoon. I should start now.
Yeah, we're waiting. Everyone is ready.
I'm sorry you're waiting. Well, hello everyone. I'm so happy to be with you, even from this distance. I did want to tell you that over the years, I've had several opportunities to uh, connect with different groups of Russian people. The first time was in the 1980s, and my husband and I hosted a group of Russian journalists in our home, which was wonderful. Then in the 1990s, I flew to Moscow and to escorted a group of exchange students. So I was in your beautiful city for about 24 hours, and then I flew back to the States with about 20 high school students from Russia. So I am happy to be with you again, and I'm eager to talk to you about the organization I work for, what we do in the ed tech industry, and um, and to invite you to get to know us better. I'm going to start a PowerPoint now, and you can look at that instead of my face.
Screen
So,
now. Yeah, that's the presentation.
and you can see it?
Yeah, we can see it. You can start to demonstrate it.
All right. So I work for the Software and Information Industry Association. I want to tell you what that's about and what we do with education and how we support our members who work around the world in education technology. So we are what we call here a trade association, and we represent businesses that, in many capacities, work in technology and information and data. So the organization has several divisions because there are so many different sectors of industry involving information, data, and technology. So we have a division that works primarily with companies that are in the media business, um, the financial information business. So this would be banking, uh, the stock markets, that sort of thing. We have a software and services division, content and information services that are not educational necessarily. Um, a specialized information publishing division, and of course, the education technology division represents companies that work in our education markets from kindergarten through university level. For all of those different divisions, we work a lot with public policy, um, working with lawmakers to help develop policies that are favorable to our members. We also do a lot of work with intellectual property protection, as well as privacy. And that involves anti piracy, again, privacy. So we are just one part of a larger organization. We work in all these areas, advocacy, property protection, education and training, and work a lot to help our members um, develop and grow their businesses within their markets. And very importantly, a lot of peer networking. Um, our members have a lot to teach each other, and they often do a lot of services together. We encourage a lot of partnerships and collaboration among our members. So I'll give you a little more detail about the education division. We have more than 200 member companies that provide software, digital content, online learning, related technologies. And one area that it is growing there is online assessment. I don't know whether um, assessment is a big issue in your school systems, but it certainly is in ours. So we support these companies by providing leadership, business development opportunities, and we gather and distribute a lot of information and data about the K-20 education market. Um, our member companies have joined us for these benefits: business development and networking, thought leadership. As I said, they learn a lot from each other, and we try to create opportunities for that to happen. We give them visibility and brand awareness. Again, as I mentioned, market intelligence, policy, and intellectual property and anti piracy. These are just a few of our nearly 200 members. I think you'll recognize some of these brands like Adobe, Pearson, Promethean, and on and on. Obviously, I could not list them all. Our members range from uh, very large companies like Adobe, Pearson, and Promethean to very small startup companies that may not be um, may not have any revenue yet, and we give them very low membership rates so that they can join our network and help grow our business. We enjoyed several weeks ago a visit from a couple of startups from your country, and of course, Edutain Me, who have organized uh, this educational fair. And we were delighted to learn about their work and, of course, and encourage them to join ETIN. as young startup companies, so they could benefit from some of our services. One of the most important aspects of the way we work is we have board members that focus on specific issues or market elements. So we have a board that focuses on the post-secondary or college and university market, because that market is very, very different from our K-12 market. So it makes sense for us to have separate boards. Then we have a board that focuses on K-12. And then what may be of interest to you is that we are just beginning an education entrepreneurs executive council so that we can do more work to support innovators and entrepreneurs who may be just starting out in K-20. Then within, we have many committees um, that do a lot of work. They help us. Excuse me, I am advancing my slides too quickly. I'm going to exit just a moment. Sorry about this delay. There, so as I said, a lot of our work is done on the committee level. Um, that so to make sure that our members are sharing information with each other. You can see here we have market data and analysis, member programs that helps us make sure we're serving our members well. And one I particularly want to point out to you is the Global Strategies Committee. These committee members represent companies that are doing work globally. They interact and educate each other about how the global market is different from the U.S. market, and issues and considerations they need to be aware of. We have are hosting a series of webinars that are created by this committee. Actually, there's one next week. These webinars are for members only. But they are about issues like technology and infrastructure, and what do global companies need to be aware of if they're doing work, for example, in countries that don't have as strong a technology infrastructure as that some more developed countries do. They talk about issues about uh, how school systems and procurement may be different in other countries, issues around uh, things as obvious as shipping and getting a sales force that can represent the company in another country, and how doing business in other nations is a really specialized and talent for these companies. we do a lot of major conferences, and we hope to see you at some of these. Again, this is advancing without me, so let me go back. We have a major conference coming up in San Francisco in May, and this is a major gathering of all of our members. And we have workshops, including workshops on doing business globally. And then we have one every winter in New York City that focuses on the business aspects of it and how to do business with schools. We also have a couple of key programs, and one of those is our Innovation Incubator program that I work closely with. And certainly, startups and entrepreneurs from around the world are invited to attend. What innovators do is apply to be a part of this incubator. 10 finalists are selected to receive some special services like mentoring, networking, and exposure, commentary on their products, opportunities to present their products to potential partners and investors. A part of that is our one-to-one business connections program, where we match companies who might want to partner or invest in new companies or projects to meet together and talk about each other's needs. And many very profitable relationships grow out of this one-to-one opportunity. One of our biggest and most recognized programs is the Cody Awards. And we have, over the past, actually, it's not 28 years, it's 30 years, we have recognized the talents of over 1,000 software and information companies. And this is considered one of the premier awards um, for businesses in the software and information business. Again, international companies are, of course, welcome to apply. And you can see the website here where you can get more information about this program. As I mentioned earlier, we try to supply our companies with market research and data. So one of those is we survey U.S. ed tech companies about trends in sales and revenues so that we can give them a picture of where K-12 primarily. Well, no, this includes K-20, where those schools and institutions are spending their technology dollars. This helps them understand the market and make their business plans. The second one is our Vision K-20 program. It's an initiative to draw attention to how technology can improve education and better prepare our students to use technology and use technology and digital content to learn more in academic areas. So we do this annual survey of educators. Again, this can be global, and we invite you to take this survey, which is open now, and give us information about how you use educational technology to help teachers and students in their work. We also provide our members with daily information about trends. They get information from us via Twitter, via LinkedIn, our blog, a daily newsletter, press releases, and a member newsletter, which I will be writing later today, and special announcements, trying to give them as much visibility in the media as possible.
Donna, I'm sorry to interrupt you. We have a feeling that you forget to change the slides, isn't it?
They are changing.
No, we don't see it.
Uh-oh.
You are still on the slide number 7.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay, but okay, that can be a lot of information about one slide, but probably I think the topic is different now.
Much different. I'm so sorry. Do you want me to go back?
No, just let's follow because we should keep attention of the audience, but just please change the slide.
Did you let me make sure.
Because we still to be on the slide number 7, added divisions committees.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay. Are you seeing it change?
Probably you should just click on the left side and choose it. And choose.
Tell you what, I'm going to exit and get
So that's
back
the last
to.
one?
Yes.
Yeah. And if you, you should change, like this is the one before the last. It's 13.
Let me get back to.
You can use the arrows on your computer as well.
Yeah, I did that. I don't understand why.
I think you just. Can you maybe show yourself on the camera now?
Yes.
Yeah, because there is no presentation at all. I think you turned it off recently.
You know what? I think the camera turned off.
Can you show us your desktop again?
There.
Yeah, we see you now.
Okay.
Can we try to come back to the presentation and finish it? Because it was interesting, of course.
Yes. Let me get that back up.
Она, короче, забыла. Do you need any help, any advice? Can you show us your...
I'm just trying to get back to.
Yeah, that's left side. The second icon.
You're seeing the slide? Can you see that one?
Green screen with arrow in the middle. Left, second bottom.
Right? No, I've lost the.
Downside, you will see the Google icon. Click on it.
Got it. Sorry.
Can you tap on the screen and so just click on your screen and you will see the menu?
Yes, I have it.
So, and then on the left side, you will see the second icon with green screen and arrow inside. That's a change of the screens. Don't worry, that's okay.
Oh, goodness.
Wow. Mysterious. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Why do I,
that's your presentation. Which this one from currents. Yeah, that's it.
All
if
right.
You need this one.
Okay.
keyboard, please, by arrows, click it like back
Yes,
or
yes.
forward.
Are you seeing different
Yeah, we see you
slides?
and it's much better now.
All
Like
right.
full screen. Do you need this slide or another one?
Well, I spoke about this slide already.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
So we can
And
go
then
forward by
yes.
keyboard arrow.
Yes. And I spoke about the Cody Awards.
Perfect. We see everything.
Uh-huh. And our market research. And I spoke about what we are doing to keep our members informed about everything we do and to keep everybody else informed about what they do. And I encourage you to visit our website and look at some of this information that can help you understand our market as well as the global market. That is the end, and
Ah,
I'm going to exit this and take any questions.
can you please
Uh,
demonstrate us your website, probably, if it's possible? Just to show a few
sure.
examples. Maybe it will make our presentation more, I don't know, vivid.
I'm so sorry
No,
that
that's okay. That's okay. Anyway, who needs to get the information? They got it.
I hope so. Um, Let me get another.
Right. So just open your Google Chrome.
Yes, it's open.
Okay. So just, yeah.
There's the website. Um, we're giving our Cody Awards um, on May 4th,
Mhm.
and it's a very exciting event. Let me show you the education portion of the site. So if you want to know more about what we're doing in education, this is where you would go. And you can see, our upcoming events. Most of our webinars are for members only, but keep an eye out. Some of them we make available for free to everyone. Um, and they're very interesting. Um, here's Let me go here. Our policy information. Of course, this deals primary with education issues. We focus both on national policy and state policies because here every state addresses education differently. So our members need information about each state. Uh,
Do you have any videos on your website? Probably no.
we do not, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Of course, it's about data.
We do, some of our webinars are archived, so let me show you how to find those. Um, so some of these can be accessed by people who are not members, um, such as this one.
Long video, actually, 1 hour.
Yeah, we won't make you watch the whole hour.
Okay.
And some of them have some video and some of them are slides. Student data privacy is a huge issue here because certainly parents and school administrators want to make sure that the companies that they purchase from are properly um, protecting student data and privacy and personal information. So this is a big topic for us. Is that an issue in as much an issue in other countries?
For us,
Yes.
educational technologist, of course, is issue, but we're on the other level. We're just starting, and it would be a pleasure if you'll come for us next year and on Ed Brand, as we already invited you, because really you'll find your very responsive audience, I hope. We're sure. Yeah, it's very interesting. But we don't have so many IT people now, unfortunately. I'll ask our audience about the questions, okay? Do you see us
Yes.
now? Okay.
I do.
Уважаемые господа, у вас есть какие-нибудь вопросы? Вас будет? We're sorry, probably it's late because it's the final lecture of our fair, first day of our fair. But everything would be online tomorrow, and we will send you a link.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have so many people now. I'm sorry for that. But at the beginning, it was like 10 people more.
I understand. I'm sorry the slide presentation
little
didn't
bit.
work so well.
Donnie, well, very grateful for your participation in our fair, and we're sure that next year and just on this autumn we'll repeat your lecture if you would be so kind to make it for us.
I would love to do it again.
Yes, and we hope we'll see you in Moscow.
I would love to come and stay a little longer than I did last time.
Of course, autumn would be great time, still warm, but not stuffy in the city.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I enjoyed this.
Thank you as well. Thank you for your cooperation with our event. It was great job and
All
a great
right.
pleasure for us.
Thank you. Good luck with the rest of the fair.
Yeah, we have a lot of things to do as well. Bye bye, Donnell. Have a
Goodbye.
nice day
Thank you.